here's the big problem with socialized medicine, and I'm sorry, Britain, I'm gonna really pick on you. Although, if you go on YouTube and search Steven Crowder Canada Healthcare, he did a video a long time ago when he worked for a place called Justin TV. It's a very enlightening video about the Canadian.
I've watched it.
Yeah, it's very good.
They literally were just trying to just be seen, and they went to several different healthcare facilities.
Ended up having to go to a private clinic, and they talked to one woman.
Pay for it.
Yeah, they had to pay for it, and they talked to one woman outside who was it her daughter or sister? It was somebody. I think it was her daughter. Ended up losing both of her legs because they wouldn't operate. They had to wait too long. She ended up having to have both legs amputated, and they're not sure when they're going to get a wheelchair. But she could go to the veterinary clinic, pay $10, and get a prescription for her dog in 20 minutes.
Yep. It's wild because why? Because it's not socialized.
It's the craziest thing when you have to pay for shit.
Forced.
Yeah, I mean, so.
And what is their tax rate up there?
I mean, it's pretty high.
Yeah, but like it's not horrible. But the thing is, though, like
I think their income tax is about 50%.
I hear that they're
I think I could. I mean, I'm sure they have a. I think they have a progressive tax code similar to ours, but I think it's average close to 50%.
Well, I heard they're going. They're not doing so well financially because of how much it costs, and that's why they're behind on everything. And honestly, them doing that.
I mean,
oh yeah, what do you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's the craziest thing. It's like it's almost like this has happened before.
Capitalism, people. It's not evil.
Capitalism has lifted more people out of poverty than any other economic political system in the world, and that's not disputable.
And he's not just quoting Ben Shapiro.
No, I'm not just quoting Ben Shapiro. I'm also quoting Jordan Peterson.
Or Candace Owens.
Or Candace Owens. And I'm trying to think of a liberal, because there are liberals that... Because numbers don't lie.
I can't think of any liberal who said that.
Well, I would consider Jordan Peterson a classical liberal. He probably leans more left.
Liberal and left...
Oh, right. These are not the same thing.
Yes. When we say left nowadays, we are specifically...
talking about the
radical left, you know, because leftists back in the day and Democrats back in the day, they weren't evil, and it's not that they're evil.
It
you know what I
depends
mean?
on how far back in the day you go, because I seem to remember some Democrats wearing white hoods and calling for forced segregation.
No, don't say
sterilization
that. On the big great switch.
Yeah, well, I mean, and that happened.
I don't believe it did.
It happened, but
it's been debunked several times.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty hard to argue, but anyway.
Check out Ben Shapiro's.
Yeah, but of course Ben Shapiro's going to say that.
Yeah,
I'm confusing the shit out of some people tonight.
Yeah, they're
like, wait,
what's true?
No, he's like, wait, I thought you were right. No, not necessarily. But there's two cases that happened in Britain, and this has been recent. This has been within the last couple of years. The first one being Alfie Evans. You'll probably remember this. I forget the name of the illness, but again, this is all, you can Google all this. Long story short, baby was born in Britain, had tons of complications. Turns out he had some sort of super rare neurological condition.
They wouldn't let him come to the United States.
Oh, it gets worse than that.
I remember this. Okay.
So they were treating him, but then the National Health Service ruled to disconnect ventilatory support, meaning they were going to disconnect him from his breathing machine, his ventilator. That baby, and I say baby because he was less than 2 years old. I think when he died, he was 1 year, 11 months or something like that. That baby lived for 5 days off of that ventilator, and then he died. Now, in between that time, the parents tried multiple times to get the court, yes, I said the court, meaning the judicial body of the government.
That should not be governing healthcare.
They appealed several times to get them to lift their decision. And then they tried to seek treatment in the United States. They were not allowed to move the child. The father had an audience with the Pope, and the Pope supported this. The child was granted Italian citizenship so that he could immediately be let into Italy to receive treatment. The Italian government literally gave a baby in the UK citizenship so that they could cut the red tape. Now, why would the government of Great Britain stop this from happening?
It's a good question.
Now, I hope I'm wrong here. I really hope I'm wrong. But this is what happens when you give people power.
Government overreach.
Oh, beyond.
That's insane reach.
And you would think, okay, that's really sad, but surely that's rare. Well, I'm sure it's rare. It's not the only time. The Charlie Gard case, almost identical circumstances, different illness, but almost identical circumstances.
Britain as well?
Mm-hmm. Britain, okay. NHS. Similar circumstances. Now, I will give the NHS credit. They tried a little bit longer on this one. But again, they elected to end life support, and the parents protested, and they could not. Again, and I think it was the same surgeon was consulted for Alfie Evans as Charlie Gard, because Charlie Gard happened first. And you have doctors that are literally offering. I'm trying to remember the details. I think he was supposed to come to Britain but was unable to travel there. But he did consult. The surgeon in question did consult. And ultimately, these kids died because the healthcare system decided to pull resources. This is what happens when you nationalize healthcare. And this is tame. And these are rare circumstances. Because I'm sure I've met people from the UK, and most of them say, yeah, it's great. But again, when a government has the opportunity to be malevolent, they will be malevolent. It's a matter of when, not if. And again, this is the nice kind. You know, you want to really see some shit? Go back to the Soviet Union.
Oh yeah.
You know, go do yourself a favor. I'm not going to go into it. This isn't healthcare, but if you want to see where socialism leads, literally every time, Google the kulaks in the Ukraine. Long story short, these were the wealthier peasants, and I say wealthier in air quotes because they were by no means wealthy by today's standards. They might have had a cow. I mean, literally. And Jordan Peterson does a much better job outlining this in his lectures and his book. I'm not doing it justice, so I'm giving you the condensed version. Long story short, the communist commissars come into town. They find all the people that were worthless and bitter and, had no money. And they told them, well, these people stole them from you. Stole it from you. They stole the wealth, which is preposterous. They were good at what they did, and they were successful. So they made money. Imagine that. The people, if they were lucky, they killed them.
Yeah, that's what they turned on them.
If they were lucky, they killed them. They probably raped them and then shipped them off to Siberia, where they got to starve and freeze to death. But then you get rid of all these people that are producing most of the food. 6 million people, and this is an estimate. Probably more people died. 6 million people in the Ukraine died from famine. Because guess what? You kill the people that are growing all the food, and then nobody knows how to grow food. And then to top it all off, the people that still know how to grow food have to send it all to the state. It was a crime to pick up scraps from the fields.
Could you imagine if that was today?
Yes.
And the funny thing
it's
is,
called Venezuela.
I mean, imagine if that came to America. How many of these people that stop in at McDonald's, Taco Bell, any of that, do they know how to make their own food? Do they know how to grow their own food?
No,
do they know how to go out hunt?
No.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've never hunted a day in my life.
No. And
I could fish. I'd eat fish.
And guys, that's called civilization. Because when you don't have to worry about growing your own food, you can worry about building cars, or building roads, or building airplanes, or flying airplanes, or making shit.
Yes.
When you don't have to worry about feeding yourself and your family by growing your own food and raising your own livestock, that takes some time. That's how, and that's why we have the technology. You think that we'd be making iPhones if we still had to grow our own food? Everybody?
Nope. We'd all be farmers with straw hats.
We'd all be farmers and hunters. This is how civilization works.
It's an amazing thing. Everyone needs to just think a little bit more. You know, like, what's gonna happen if I end up going this way? And they're gonna be like, oh, well, I mean, it sounds good in
The
theory.
frustrating thing is I can understand why people felt this way and say,
Oh God, Cuba was horrible.
Well, I mean, let's be real. There's so many people swam an open ocean on makeshift rafts to escape the wonders of socialism.
Yeah, it's so wonderful there. You know, Bernie went there. I mean, do you remember him saying, "Bread lines are good. It's good.
Yes,
Standing in line for food's good
because people get food." It's like, well, I don't have to stand in line for bread.
It's
here.
like stand in line at a grocery store or stand in line to get.
Yeah, you think we'd love that? We'd get pissed off if there's 3 people in a line at Walmart.
There's not a fast pass?
Where's all the fucking cashiers? I got shit to do. Game's on.
Shit.